still like, everybody's shuffling disks around and trying to transfer things over FTP and stuff. And exams kept getting lost. And these were patients and a cohort that, losing some of their data was just really pretty tragic. So Randy Buckner, who was the core director at the time, and I got together and said, let's build an actual data system to really manage all of these images coming off the scanners. It was really focused on neuroimaging in the Alzheimer's Center, but we quickly realized this could have value well beyond just neuroimaging and just the Alzheimer's Center. So we opened it up to overall campus. We were in the psychology department at the time. Randy moved to Harvard. I moved to the radiology department in 2005. At the same time, Mark Minton, who was the director of the research division at the time, had just gotten a P30 grant from the NINDS to develop a true informatics core on campus. It was called the NIAC, Neuroimaging Informatics and Analysis Center, if I remember right, around 2005. And this was the first time we brought in actual physical computers to service all the computational workloads. They were a couple of I think they were they Sun systems? I think they were Sun, if I remember right. And they were in a closet on the second floor in the East Building. And we were running a whole bunch of automated pipelines there. It was very, very cool. We were way ahead of our time. The NINDS was ahead of its time, I thought, as well, in funding building these kinds of cores under this P30 grant mechanism. We sustained that grant mechanism for another 12 years or so after that. And then very sadly, the NINDS shut down the P30 program. They decided making these investments in core infrastructure, I guess, was not a good idea anymore. I thought it was a true loss. It did change the way, some of the way we operated, so I was sad about that. Around 2010, Fred Pryor in the electronic radiology lab started the CHPC, the Center for High Performance Computing. This is the first time across all of WashU campus that we actually had a high performance computing system that was open to everybody. So all comers could get accounts, start running computational loads on the system. There before that had been some HPCs like in the physics department, maybe a couple over in engineering, but nothing that was truly open to everyone on campus. So that was pretty transformational as well. It was led by radiology, but it was supported by engineering and other departments across campus. That was around 2010. Fred left in about 2015. We took over operation fully of the CHPC with Malcolm Tobias in the Center for Computational Imaging Research Center. That's the thing I run. I can never remember what we call it. Then around 2015, we launched TIP, which is the first time we were doing informatics systems, taking research workflows and putting them actually into clinical service. This is a very forward-looking kind of thing to take the things that we were doing in our labs and translating them to have impact in the clinic. That was supported by the CHPC and the NIAC. A couple of years later, we launched Mirror. Again, a very groundbreaking concept to basically mirror the entire PACS, all the images that come in clinically, and make all of that data available for our researchers. So you can now, simultaneous with the growth of AI, you could build cohorts of tens of thousands of subjects from patient exams coming in from the PACS. Around COVID-ish, 2020, 2021, I think our computing systems, we kind of entered a little bit of a dark ages period, I would say. The NIAC funding had ended. A lot of the major large-scale projects like the Human Connectome project were winding down. Some of our folks who were running systems for a long time, like Malcolm, retired. We had some folks poached away who moved off to industry. And so we were really struggling for a couple of years there. And I kind of recognized that it would take a little bit of effort to rebuild what we'd built and rebuild it in ways that were really forward-looking to the next generation. And so part of that was creating a true facility, the Research, Computing, and Informatics facility, putting real directors in place with Scott and Mike, who could really oversee it, have their own business and operation models and plans that they could build a truly sustainable facility. This couldn't have happened without serious investment from the department. So both Rich, kind of as he was on his last year as department chair, and Pam, as she was starting to take leadership, really doubled down on investing in the facility. We have by far the best staff we have ever had to run our computing systems, both the veterans who've been with us for a while, and a lot of fresh faces who are joining and bringing really exciting new ideas. So you're going to hear about all of that today, both from some of our veterans who will be presenting, as well as some of those fresh faces. This is intended as an open house, so definitely ask questions. We'll be mingling over lunch. Get to know some of the folks, introduce yourselves. They're amazing people. We've never had a more service-oriented group, so they're definitely here to support your research. Thanks for coming. Always I'm around, so definitely grab me with any questions or insights you might have. Scott, over to you.
Thank you. I am one of those fresh faces. And just as vindication, they poached me from industry. So, you know, everything swings both ways, I guess. So today we're going to be talking in our 3 sessions about overview of the facility itself, how you can get access to it, how you can get started, you know, who you talk to just to do things. We're really here to enable whole research projects from, you know, inception all the way to writing papers. So we're here for that. We want to give you some contact points so that you can, get in touch with us and really work with us. We'll be covering some of the deeper details of data and services and informatics from 11 to noon, and then really get into some of the more fun parts, at least for me, for high performance computing in the afternoon session from noon to 1. So, the first question I think a lot of people ask is, what is the RCIF? There are a lot of acronyms around here. You know, as you could tell, even Dan has just the litany of alphabets that have come over the years, and this is yet another addition to it. So I think he's explained a little bit about how this is different than what's come in the past, but we really want to kind of show what that means in real life. We're also going to tell you about the process to actually use the RCIF and how you get started, how you get billed, what the fees are so that there's no lack of clarity. And then we'll get into some Q&A and discussion, because I'm sure that we are not going to cover everything that everyone is interested in. So the RCIF is the Research Computing and Informatics Facility. It's an NIH research facility, so it's focused on bringing data. So all of this great data that's been collected over such a long period of time here at the institution, and actually making it available for computational studies. And then the computing power itself that we can leverage to do impactful big science on this data that you now have access to. It's funded by user fees. We're budget neutral. So, you know, we aren't here to make a profit. We really are just here to offer this at cost. We really see this kind of as composed of 3 different components. You know, one is the data services. I really think that that's kind of the jewel in this whole crown of the facility, because it offers all of this extremely rich data set in a form that can be then processed for science impact. But to facilitate this, we have a lot of other great hardware. We have a large data storage facility that sits in our research data center, and a very, very competitive computational capacity. So as we're deploying our newest hardware, once it's fully deployed, we would have enough computing power there to get on the top 500 list, which is a supercomputing list of the top 500 supercomputers in the world. The real pillar for all of this service, though, are the staff that we have on hand. And I think, as Dan was alluding to, it's a really powerful group of people that I think we've finally assembled around this facility. Obviously there's Kathy, who you probably met outside. She's helping to make sure that all of us are corralled as cats. Jenny, Mike, me, Steve. We have our operations staff as well, with Dennis and Florin and Keenan and Moises and Rochetia. And we also have our newest members, Jen and Petra and Pam, helping with the data management aspect. So we're really excited about that. So we really have kind of a full cohort of people that can address all aspects of getting data and putting it into our computational workloads. A lot of this is centered around Mirror and the CNDA that Dan was mentioning. I'm not going to talk about that too much here, because there's a whole session about that. But that's kind of where we're all starting with this. And where that goes is into our very large data facility. So right now we have about 5.8 petabytes of storage, which is actually not even close to being full, but we're in the middle of putting out another 11 petabytes of storage. That equipment is all in. It really just has to do with us wiring it at this point. And then also a mirrored facility over in another data center that will be handling our disaster recovery. So altogether, that's over 16 petabytes of usable storage and another 11 petabytes of backup. We also have a high-speed storage space for people that are doing really high-performance computing studies. This is where you would put your data while you're processing on it, and that's another 2 petabytes. We have a number of computing nodes right now. The ones in yellow are the ones that are deployed. So we have everything from very high throughput CPU processors to data center scale GPUs. These are V100s right now, but sitting in our data center, again, waiting to be wired up, are nodes for A100s, and we have a significant computing capacity there. So you'll see that we have 20 of the modular A100s, 80 gigabyte version. We have another 48 of the 40 gigabyte version. These are extremely powerful GPUs. These are really some of the heaviest GPUs that you can get in the data center. They're not the best. Those are the H100s, which we're also getting. And what you might not notice here is that there's this SXM in the middle. And that means that these are all modular cards. They're all connected by an NB switch, which is an extremely high throughput, faster than PCI bus within the node. So you have almost a coalesced computational space within each node. So if you're really looking at doing AI workloads or training, this is extremely important. So we're really excited about this. And I think by the end of the next quarter, this will all be deployed and working for people. We also support a lot of software on the high performance computing system. And this is all available for people. I've highlighted a few things that are, I think, some of the more popular options. But we're also always looking for what people want. And so I was actually hoping to take some time, like right now, to get some feedback from people on what software it is that they would use, and if there's any software that they might want to add. And so you can take an image of the QR code and start voting. I'm personally very interested in this, so I'd be curious what people think.